The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
I'm the host, Warren Van.
Episode 60 of the Warren and Bradley Show, coming at you from a freezing cold Bellingham, Washington.
It's our Diamond Jubilee.
Is that? No, Diamond is 75.
Oh, didn't she just do the Diamond Jubilee?
And that was 75,
Oh, it
wasn't
was 75, wasn't it? What's the 60?
I have no idea. I don't think it's anything.
It's something.
Ruby, garnet, sapphire,
No,
topaz.
she's 75. No, she had to be 60.
I don't know.
There's no way it was 75.
I don't know. Are there
She's
any-
not that old. She's old, but she's not that old.
She's like 207 or something. She's ridiculously old.
She is very old.
We're talking about the Queen of England, for
Yeah,
those of you who don't
of
know what
course.
we're mentioning here. So episode 60. I was waiting outside for Warren to approach from afar, and God, it's like 30 degrees out there.
And the sun's out.
I know, it's weird. And that's why it's 30 degrees, because the sun is out.
Yeah, it's that lovely combination that everyone's squinting and, like, shying away from it.
Yeah,
at this
I don't
point.
like the thing where... See, I don't wear sunglasses in the wintertime.
Well, yeah, of course you know, because we don't have sun in the wintertime.
Usually. And so, but I was out today and I was walking around downtown and there are all these people with sunglasses and
Oh, I got my
stocking caps.
sunglasses.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a
just
weird
doesn't-
combination, but it's also necessary.
I guess.
Because the sun, especially if you haven't seen the sun for months, then the sun comes out and is beating into your eyes. It's like you need sunglasses. You need somebody to protect your eyes.
It is kind of fun. I think we mentioned this last winter when we were talking about the sun peeking through the insane cloud cover that we usually have during the winter and how everyone is like these vampires or Morlocks, like little mole people coming out of their dens. They seem very confused and people are bumping into things and like, ugh. What was it that Bellingham was the number one city in America?
It's the least amount of sunny days.
Amount of sunshine. During
Only
the
like
winter.
19% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's enough.
And that's all compacted into the summer for the most part.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Weather on the Warren and Bradley Show. We're going to have a good show this week. We have a brand new feature to premiere. Ooh. We'll get to that later. Just teasing you now with that. We'll have some Celebrity Minute. We'll have Street Freak of the Week. We do not have a That's How Women Are or That's What Men Are Like. I think our feature last week was very successful, though. We had some comments on the Twitter sphere.
Oh, Twitter is blown up.
But let's get right to it. Warren,
Yes.
I know you're annoyed because you are going to be up all night.
That's right. Not the good kind of up all night.
No, getting on a bus, going down to Seattle, going to the airport, and then flying to New York.
This is what's happened to me. It's annoying to not just fly from the city we live in.
Yeah.
Because we have an airport now that serves many cities around the Western United States.
Doesn't go direct to New
Does
York.
not go to the East Coast.
No.
So I have to go to Seattle, which involves me taking a cab to a hotel in town, getting on a bus for 2.5 hours, waiting for 2.5 hours to get on a flight for 5 hours to get to a city on the other side of the country. So I will be up for the next 24 hours. Very unpleasant.
By the time you get to New York, so your flight leaves at what time?
7:10 in the morning.
And you'll be arriving at 3 something in the afternoon.
Yes. But this is the problem, right? If I lived in the city where the flight was leaving from,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a red eye. But because I have to go through this long process to get down there, I have to leave tonight.
You could conceivably fly to Seattle from Bellingham and then fly from Seattle to New York.
But that doesn't actually save you time. No, because and especially if you could line the flights up perfectly,
Yeah.
and it would actually get you there. But oftentimes they'll link those flights together. You'll get to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport and sit there for 5 hours waiting for your flight to leave. I know it's like a first world problem type of thing, but I'm going to be in a very bad mood. I'll probably have a headache, be slightly nauseous, and just be stumbling into the city tomorrow.
So what is the purpose of this journey to New York?
The girlfriend has a conference, so I'm just piggybacking on top of that.
So her flight and everything is paid for. Does she have
Yes.
Hotel paid
Yes.
for as well? So you don't have to pay for hotel?
No, I don't. That's why I'm going, yeah.
And so it's like a week?
Yes. I'll be there, and I'll be in Philadelphia very briefly.
What are you going to do? What are you going to see?
Well,
You've been to New York before, though.
I've been to New York a couple times. I walk around. I'll eat pizza. I look at all the tall buildings. I mean, what do you do? I mean, that's what I like to do in cities. It's a very fun city to go to.
Say hi to my good friend and Warren and Bradley Show listener, Brandon, if you happen to see him.
Oh,
there.
That's right. I'll come see you, Brandon.
He lives in Williamsburg. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be in
Manhattan?
Like,
but
where?
I will go probably go to Williamsburg at some point.
Okay, yeah.
Because I just have days. I don't have to do anything.
Say hi to him, because I'm sure you'll run into him at some point.
Yeah, how can you not? So I'll just be strolling around. Any New York listeners?
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open for me.
We're popular on the East Coast.
Yeah. I'll be around.
Not very popular in Middle America, apparently, but on the coast, we're hot.
Flyover country, we're not so hot.
I was actually looking at our listening audience. Number 1 in Washington State, obviously. Number 2 is California. Number 3 is New York.
Really?
Number 4 is Oregon. And number 5 is Texas.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know who would be listening to us in Texas.
That must be Austin or something.
Because we're...
So I was wandering around enjoying the crisp, cool weather.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. I like the little the sting in the air when you breathe in.
Oh, it's much nicer than having it be slightly wet everywhere.
Yeah, that's, when I'm working outside and it's like 31 degrees, I much prefer that to 33 degrees because when everything is frozen, you don't get as cold because it's dry. When it's 33 degrees and there's these puddles of half melted ice water everywhere, you just get soaked through to the skin and you're freezing.
I've been
horrible.
pitching this to everyone lately because everyone's like, oh, it's so temperate here. It's so temperate.
Yeah.
It's so much better when it's like 40 than if it's like 28. And I'm like, 28 is a million times better than 40.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's just more comfortable.
We live in a very moist part of the country.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the winters are normally low 40s, maybe high 30s throughout December or January, February. But then when we do get a cold snap, I'm just relieved. I can walk around, I can breathe without getting some like
refreshing.
Bronchitis or
it's
consumption.
Crisp out. It's often sunny during that time.
Yeah.
You can just go out and walk and not have to like step in a bunch of puddles.
I do have to say, though, if I'm working, for some reason, if you smash your finger with a hammer when it's 28 degrees, I don't know what this is. And obviously, when your hands are numb, it is more likely that you are going to hit your hand with a hammer. Why is it that when you bang something, a body part that's numb already, why does it hurt so much fucking more when it's freezing?
I don't know. I've wondered about that myself because that is true. Even if you have frozen feet and you like stub your toe, it just stings in this like intense way for a very long period. Blood flow restrictions because of the cold weather. I have no idea.
Perhaps. I don't know. So as I mentioned, enjoying the cold weather, wandering around, looking at people. It's interesting the regional variance in dress. Like you see, I don't know, maybe a movie set in New York, and I don't know how accurate these are, but it's the middle of winter. It gets cold in New York in winter, and people are wearing... They're not as bundled up there as they are here, I think.
No, because
even though
it's
the
like,
temperature is probably much colder in New York.
Yeah, it's a crazy exception, though, right?
Yeah,
it gets below freezing here, and people are like, "Wow!" There's like news reports about it.
Yeah,
the front page of the paper is
There's
like
homeless people
cold snap,
freezing in the streets.
Yeah, it's like big cold snap. You're like, "Oh boy, cold snap! It's going to be 30 degrees for 2 days."
Yeah,
and that's right. I was walking home the other day, and like the churches are all like emergency shelters. You got to get everybody inside because everyone will die. And I remember this when I was a kid as well. We get like a nor'easter come blowing in, and the news reports would say things like, if your skin is exposed for 30 seconds, you'll get frostbite, right? Yeah. And that's what they would say. And I was scared, and my family was scared. But that's what it's like in the Midwest almost all the time.
Yeah, and people are alive.
And people are fine. There. No one's getting frostbite all over the place.
Well, just me, for example. In my apartment, I have the windows open all the time because I'm just weird. And it's fine if the heat is on, but as I've discussed before, the heat doesn't come on at normal times. I have no control over, I have no thermostat. And so maybe it'll be 22 degrees when I go to sleep. But the heat will be on, so it's fine. I'm sleeping in my bed. I'll wake up in the morning, it's 21 degrees and the heat is not on. My windows are still open. The memory foam mattress that I've been sleeping on has hardened.
Yes.
It's like frozen. The water on my bedside table is frozen solid. I'm still alive. My face is cold, but I'm alive. I'm undercover. And so if you're wearing clothing, wandering around in the street, 20 degrees is not going to kill you.
No.
It's
if you sit out without any clothes on in 20 degrees on the street all night,
you
might have yourself a problem.
Maybe.
But That's probably not going to happen. You can get up and walk around.
I was getting irritated though because I'm wearing a coat, I'm wearing a stocking cap, I'm not freezing or anything. But then there's these idiots wandering around in board shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah,
it is 30 degrees right now.
I could do that.
I don't understand.
The cold doesn't bother me.
It's like I'm becoming one of those people. I remember my grandpa all the time. He would see some teenager walking around in the winter. You should put a coat on. Why doesn't he put a coat on? And
why get angry about that?
I don't know. It made him very angry.
I know,
and
but I know people have been trying to make me wear coats for years.
Well, I'm starting to get to that point too. I'm like, I'm kind of cold right now, so I'm wearing a jacket. And then I see somebody in a tank top. Like, what?
But that person's not. I mean, if that person was really, really cold, they'd be like, we're whining about being so cold.
Why aren't they cold?
Some people are hot people, some people are cold people.
But I do run hot.
Not as hot as some of us.
I don't know. Maybe they're just fat or something.
The cold is amazing. It gets above 70 degrees, I'm completely uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I don't know. People just don't like the cold for some reason.
There's this girl walking around downtown, though. I was in the bagelry watching people walk by. And she had, I like the high boots that girls wear these days.
Oh, yeah, they're in fashion.
I'm a fan of that fashion trend.
Oh, I know. That's because you want to wear high boots.
I would love to wear high boots.
And have a riding crop and, like, walk around.
The problem is they don't make them for men other than, like, crazy weird goth boots with like leather buckles and
that's the kind of eccentric freak who would wear like boots like that.
I would think of like 19th century riding boots. I like that.
Yeah, that's the kind of person that would wear 19th century riding boots walking around town right now is the same kind of person that's a goth.
Well, I'm not wearing 19th century, but I wish that it were culturally acceptable for me to do so. But I enjoy the women wearing those boots. But there's this one girl today who had boots like that, but they had these leather pom-pom things on the boots.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you'll see snow boots that have little fuzzy pom-poms on them. But these were made of leather, and they had really long cords so that they almost dragged the ground as she was walking along.
Yeah.
It was kind of like bolas you see cowboys in Argentina capturing a calf with or something. She was walking with these things, and with each step she took, they would almost intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, here comes trouble. So I was watching her as she was walking, seeing them like twine, almost connect to each other, and then kind of fall apart again. And of course, she finally took one big stride, the bolas from each foot intertwined and connected, and she went pa-bam, and just fell face down on the sidewalk.
That's going to happen.
I was watching her for about a minute, and she fell down. As she was walking, I could see these things constantly intertwining. How many times has she fallen flat on her face wearing these boots? And if you were one of these manufacturers making these boots...
Are you worried about lawsuits?
Did it ever occur to you that you should not have grappling hooks connected to the boots?
I'll say this about women's footwear.
Yeah. Not the most practical thing in the world.
High heels are horrible. They're a horrible idea.
It's so stupid.
They're completely crazy, right?
Yeah.
But people are still walking around in those, and they're like hurting their ankles all the time, falling over. They're getting horrible problems with their feet, and they're still wearing these things, which don't make any sense.
Yeah.
When I see those, I'm always like, just put on some flat shoes and join the rest of us.
Chick who was probably like 15 or 16 with her mother, also in the bagelry. She was wearing yoga pants and a big puffy winter coat, but then she had some of the highest heels I've ever seen. These crazy high stiletto heels. Did not match the outfit at all, and she looked like a cripple. I don't know if you're allowed to say cripple anymore. She looked like...
a person who was crippled.
Yes. Yeah, that's better. Walked into the door, was holding on to the door handle because she was about to fall over. Her mother, she was towering over her mother, but I think she was probably about the same height as her mother, actually, without the shoes. It's like, why? She can't walk. I could walk better in high heels than she could.
But it's like walking around on weird stilts everywhere. Yeah. I really don't understand the point.
Maybe that could be that's how women are at some point. If a girl could write in and explain to us why they wear high heels, I could understand maybe a couple inches or something. Maybe it looks sophisticated or dressy.
You know, you don't want to wear it if you're going out to get bagels in the morning. Maybe do a business meeting and you're like power pantsuit or whatever. But I just do not understand it. It seems insane to me. I can't imagine like walking around with just weird things sticking out of the bottom of my shoe that are always going to trip me up all the time. But I guess it's fine.
That's the other thing, the yoga pants fashion going on right now. I don't mind it necessarily, depending on who's wearing them.
Yeah.
But it does seem kind of odd to me that you're basically naked, but you're just painted black.
Yeah.
It's strange. It's like doesn't leave much of the imagination.
No, it doesn't at all.
Especially when you can see like labia through the pants. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it's the kind of thing that if you put some sort of like skirt around that, and then your skirt like blew up in the wind, you'd be like, oh my God, and try to like push it down.
You know, that's what I've never understood with women is their strange modesty at strange times. Like, there'll be a woman wearing a tiny bikini running around on the beach.
Yes.
But then if her underwear shows under her skirt, she's mortified.
And
Even
the
though
underwear covers more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you see her bra, it's like, oh my God. But you're running around in like a G-string bikini. Well, I don't know about a G-string bikini.
But any sort of bikini is typically much more revealing than your typical bra and panties, right? But you're outside running around by the beach where everyone else is.
Or if you're wearing tights, like you said, if the skirt flips up, they're freaked out. But you're wearing the yoga pants where it basically looks like there was a vat of black liquid that you dipped yourself into from the waist down. And now you're walking around. I can see everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, man.
And the problem with these fashion trends is that they're developed for people who match a certain body style. It's like the skinny jeans, all these certain clothing items. But then because they become popular, then every woman decides that they're going to wear these things, and they try to cram themselves into these articles of clothing that are not necessarily made for someone of a hefty nature. So you've got women with multiple asses, the fold of skin that like covers the vagina, and they're wearing these yoga pants. That's not what God intended when he invented the yoga pant.
No, it's not a good look. No. And I think just like with anything else, it starts, Paris, Milan,
fashion. A lot of yoga pants.
A lot of yoga pants. And next thing on models, right? Or skinny people are wearing them. And then pretty soon it gets into your like trailer parks, eventually it siphons on down. Yeah. And then pretty soon the people see those people wearing them and they're like, oh, time for a more baggy look.
I'm just waiting for the full black unitard to be just like fashionably. It'll be acceptable soon. I mean, we're already halfway there with the yoga pants, and soon there will be women walking around with just a thin layer of lycra covering their entire bodies. So there you go. Fashion corner on the Warren and Bradley show.
Oh, fashion corner. That should be a segment.
We should have a segment because
we should get a group us working on a song for that.
I have amazing taste, and everyone should listen to me.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Sitting at home, bored, alone. You have Netflix streaming, but you don't know what to watch. Well, now you do with Netflix Picks on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Well, it's a brand new feature on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Yeah.
Netflix Picks.
Yeah.
It's a snappy name. I think the name of this feature is very self-explanatory. I watch movies on Netflix a lot, alone in my apartment.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find movies that may not be exactly mainstream to an American audience, but they're still very good films, and I think that people should check them out. These are the hidden gems on Netflix. Some you may have heard of, some you may not have heard of. We'll do this, I don't know about every week, but every once in a while, if I see some movies that I think you should check out, I will apprise you of them. First movie, which is kind of popular amongst the sort of hipster filmy crowd, is a film called Old Boy from 2003.
I've seen that movie. Yeah.
You've seen this. It's from Korea. It is directed by Park Chan-wook.
Yes.
He is a famous director in South Korea. He's made many films, many of which are on Netflix right now. He did the Vengeance trilogy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance, and Old Boy is also one of those films in the Vengeance trilogy. There's this strange Korean super violent vengeance genre that's going on right now, and I'm not sure if that's just the films that we're getting in America, the ones that have gotten sort of international notice or not.
I don't know. You think there's like your more conventional Korean family drama that we're just not getting that are really popular over there?
Probably, maybe.
I don't know. I think we talked about Korean pop music, right? With Psy.
Yes.
I know that the soap operas, very popular all over the East.
Yeah.
People in Japan are watching those all the time. These movies too. Even we're watching these over here. Yeah. It's taking over everywhere.
Well, a brief synopsis of the plot, if you haven't heard of this. Old Boy was originally based on a Japanese manga, but the movie is even more fucked up than the manga was. Basically, it is the story of a middle-aged man who is captured placed in captivity for 15 years.
Yeah.
He has no idea why he's been placed in captivity. Finally, after 15 years, he is released. And he has 5 days to find out why he was captured and to exact vengeance upon his captors.
Yes.
It is insanely violent, stylishly directed, has a crazy twist, which I will not reveal.
I barely remember the movie. Isn't an eyeball get popped out at some point?
I think so.
Yeah, I have some memory of an eyeball.
There's some dismemberment, some gouging, all sorts of weird things going on. But I highly recommend it. It's playing on Netflix now, and there is no deadline. Like, a lot of times they'll be streaming a movie on Netflix and they'll say available till
do they?
January 13th or something. Get it while you can, because it's probably not going to be on there forever. The next film is another Korean revenge movie.
Yeah, you like Koreans.
Yeah, I'm on a Korean film kick right now. It's called The Man
a Korean
from
woman
Nowhere.
kick, from what I've heard.
A Korean what?
Woman kick.
There's been a few. It is a movie from 2010, also from South Korea. It was Korea's highest-grossing film of 2010.
Well, that indicates to me that that's a popular genre there.
Another revenge film, basic plot. There is a beautiful man who is a loner running a pawn shop. His next-door neighbor is a precocious and adorable little girl who is his only connection to the outside world, basically.
Yeah.
Her mother is a horrible drug addict. What sets the whole plot into motion is that the little girl is kidnapped. And the young man who has a secretive past is drawn out of his shell, and he must go forth to try to rescue the little girl from her evil, evil captors. Starring Won Bin, director Lee Jung-bung. This is another one of those movies where I'm not sure if it were in English with, American actors speaking English, if I would like it as much, because it is insanely melodramatic, insanely manipulative of your feelings as you're watching it. Like, it's the most adorable little girl in the world captured by the most horrible, evil gangsters in the world.
You think if it was, let's say Shia LaBeouf was working at the pawn shop,
I would not watch the movie.
You probably wouldn't watch the movie.
No,
and Mary Kate Olsen was the girl.
It's possible that will happen because it's being remade for American audiences, as is Old Boy, actually. This is currently on Netflix right now. I highly recommend it. It's an insanely good action movie, kind of over-the-top, gory violence, but well-directed. Please watch the originals of both of these films first before the inevitable American remake fucks them up.
I actually watched Funny Games the other day.
Funny Games, yes.
Yes.
Which has been remade already.
That's what reminded me that I had watched it. I had never seen the remake.
It was Dutch originally, right?
It's Austrian, I think.
Oh, Austrian, okay.
And Funny Games, the original, is pretty well reviewed. Mm-hmm. The remake sort of was panned by critics.
Yeah.
It's shot for shot. Apparently the same movie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. People just don't like the remakes.
Well, critics don't like the remakes.
You think the people like the remakes?
Well, I don't know.
I think Funny Games did poorly as far as making money, too.
Yeah, well, there's this weird thing where I guess Hollywood thinks that Americans aren't capable of reading subtitles, and I think
it's just a matter of people won't go to the movie if, like, what's his name? Wong Bing or whatever is it? You know what I mean? They want Keanu Reeves. They don't want Wong Bing.
Well, and that's what irritates me, because there's movies that are excellent and they don't need to be remade because the original was so good.
That being said, do you just want them to make another Transformers? That's what they're going to make.
I don't give a shit. They can make as many Transformers as they want. I will watch the original Korean Man from Nowhere and will not watch the American version, I'm sure. So there you have it. That was Netflix Picks on the Ward and Bradley Show.
Yes.
This has been Netflix Picks on the Ward and Bradley Show. Celebrity Minute on the Ward and Bradley Show.
Oscar nominations came out. Most of the films, of course, I haven't seen, but some of the news for the Oscar nominations, people are a little surprised by some of the films that were snubbed. We'll read out some of the nominations here. Nominees for Best Picture, Amour. Have you seen this?
From the director of Funny Games,
yes.
Actually. Yes, I have not seen it.
Neither have I. Life of Pi, haven't seen. Argo, saw, was all right. Lincoln, haven't seen. Beasts of the Southern Wild, haven't seen. Silver Linings Playbook, haven't seen. Django Unchained, I saw, but I was horribly nauseous while watching it, but it seemed pretty good. Zero Dark 30, haven't seen. Les Miserables, Haven't seen.
I've seen none of those movies. I've seen none of them.
There you go. Actor in a leading role, Bradley Cooper. As I said, haven't seen Silver Linings Playbook. Joaquin Phoenix for The Master, haven't seen. Daniel Day-Lewis
You're just going to
for
read all the
Lincoln,
nominees and say you haven't
Denzel
seen
Washington
the movies?
Flight, haven't seen. Hugh Jackman, Les Miserables.
Haven't seen.
Haven't seen. Actress
Haven't
in a
seen.
leading role. Jessica Chastain, Zero Dark 30, haven't seen. How the fuck do you pronounce the chick's name from The Beast of the Southern Wild? Kuvanjane Wally from Beasts of the Southern Wild, haven't seen. Jennifer Lawrence, Silver Linings Playbook, haven't seen. Naomi Watts, The Impossible, haven't seen. Emmanuel Riva, Amor, haven't seen. Actor in a supporting role, Alan Arkin in Argo. Didn't he win the supporting actor for Little Miss Sunshine? I think he did. And in that film, he was barely in it, had a few lines. In Argo, he's important to the film, but again, isn't in it much. And all Alan Arkin has to do in a movie, apparently, is to show up and be like, yeah, I'm Alan Arkin. Hey, what's going on? It's just his voice, apparently, that people love. I'm Alan Arkin. Yeah, so he'll probably win again. Oh, Christoph Waltz was nominated again for Django Unchained. He won for Inglourious Basterds.
That's right.
Years ago. He was good.
Well, Anne Hathaway, I see, is also nominated. I think
For Les Miserables.
She's very briefly in that, was my understanding.
Yeah. Most of these films haven't seen. I was annoyed that Moonrise Kingdom was overlooked for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best...
And I was pleased by that.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a good movie.
I thought it was great. It was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, but then there were a lot of weird snubs in terms of films that were nominated for Best Picture, but then the director was not nominated for Best Director. We have Argo was nominated, actually had 7 nominations, including Best Picture, but Ben Affleck was ignored for Best Director.
A snub.
Catherine Bigelow snubbed for Zero Dark 30 for Best Director. Tom Hooper, who directed Les Miserables, was also snubbed for Best Director, and Quentin Tarantino was snubbed for Best Director.
Okay, this is the stupid thing about this entire process, right?
Yeah.
You have Best Picture and Best Director, and then they're not exactly the same, so people talk about snubs.
Yeah.
Every year.
Well,
what's the point of having different categories?
Yeah, in the past, it would seem like whichever film was nominated for Best Picture, usually that director would be nominated for Best Director. And I think they should the person who accepts the award for Best Picture is the executive producer, usually. Yeah. They should have the director accept the award for Best Picture. And just assume if your movie won Best Picture, you're also the Best Director.
It sort of speaks to the nature of making film, though, right?
Because how many movies have you watched and said, I hate this fucking movie, it's horrible, but the directing was amazing?
That doesn't happen very often. No, that rarely happens. No. But sometimes movies do come together and are really great, and it doesn't necessarily because of a director's vision.
True.
It's many good performances and maybe a really well-written screenplay. You could say, "Oh, that could win Best Picture."
For 5 minutes, and he went, "Yeah."
And they brought Alan Arkin and just like at the beginning introduce the film and go,
"What are you talking about?" Next story. Let's get rid of this Oscar shit. I don't even know when the Oscars are, and I never watch them anyway.
Oh, good. I'm glad we got that in there then.
This is a good one. Lindsay Lohan locked herself in closet to avoid 4-way sex scene during Canyons filming.
What
this is
does
from
that
Us
mean?
Magazine.
I don't understand any of that.
Canyons is the film that she, I guess, was wrapped filming, but it was, I have no idea what the plot synopsis of this film is, but it stars several real-life porn stars along with Lindsay Lohan. In fact, one of the main guys is James Dean, I think, who is like a famous porn star.
His name's James Dean?
Yeah, I think he's, not the James Dean. He's got a big penis. This is from Us Magazine. Lindsay Lohan's outrageous antics off set, reportedly punching a psychic, getting slapped with multiple misdemeanors for lying to police, and stealing jewelry from shops in L.A., are apparently on par with her destructive behavior on set. This is a feature in New York Magazine where a writer, Stephen Roderick, followed her around basically through the entire production process of the film The Canyons. One bizarre incident involved her locking herself in a walk-in closet with her friend and refusing to come out prior to shooting a 4-way sex scene with 3 porn stars. Director Paul Schrader first tried to coax her out and then resorted to threatening her through the locked closet door.
Ah, Paul Schrader, screenwriter of Taxi Driver.
Yes, indeed.
Oh.
After an hour of non-compliance, Schrader actually stripped down naked himself to make Lohan feel more comfortable, and she eventually came out to do the scene.
That's a weird thing that got her out. An elderly man
an
just
old
like
naked man
undressing himself.
Most of the filming did not go smoothly. The troubled starlet would at times snark at her co-stars, arrive sick on set, and even drove off at night slightly inebriated.
She arrives sick on set?
Yes.
Well,
Apparently,
that's not really her fault.
well, sick meaning that she had drunken herself into a stupor the night before.
It's a euphemism for a hungover?
The very first day of filming, she didn't show up because she was hungover. She was fired by Schrader the first day of filming, and then eventually she freaked out, tried to go to his hotel, was banging on his door, texting him constantly. He was texting her back saying, "Go home, Lindsay." And then finally he agreed to rehire her. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have we established that now?
I think so. Are we going to see this movie?
I'm not.
Sounds great.
I have no idea what the plot is. I have no idea why they're using real porn stars other than just we want to sell this to an audience, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably why Lindsay Lohan's involved, right?
And if you're gonna have like a porn star with a giant dick, but you're not gonna show his dick, what's the point of having the porn star with the giant dick? Because I'm sure he's not gonna win an Academy Award for his performance.
His giant dick? Is that
no, but I'm saying what's with the stunt casting? You know?
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, what was the movie that Steven Soderbergh made with the porn star? The Girlfriend
Experience with Sasha Grey.
Terrible performance.
Apparently.
Oh, you never saw it?
No.
I saw it, and it's really, really bad.
Yeah. See, I don't get that. I guess you'll get press because, this person recently was having anal sex with 20 people at the same time, and now she's in a mainstream movie, but she can't act, so what's the point? And she's not performing sex acts in the film.
It's like the thing that she's known for she's not doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's like if you put somebody on there that's like, oh, this person's a very good violinist. Let's have them perform in this movie. And they never pick up a violin.
Right.
It's like Yo-Yo Ma's just walking around like being like, be my girlfriend or something. Yeah.
You stole my example because I was going to say you wouldn't have Mozart come and like paint your ceiling. You know, you'd have Leonardo da Vinci to paint your ceiling, and you'd have Mozart play the harpsichord
for Leonardo, or no, for Michelangelo.
Did I say Leonardo da Vinci? Yeah.
Did you say da Vinci?
I think I did. Britney Spears ends engagement to Jason Trawick, both her manager and I guess now former conservator.
Oh, good.
And she's also returned the $90,000 engagement ring, which he gave to her.
Oh, and I think she quit the X Factor.
She was fired from the X Factor.
Oh, that's not the report I saw.
Well, Simon Cowell was not pleased with her, apparently, and wanted to force her out. So they're acting as though it's an amiable split, but she was not wanted there anymore.
Oh, good.
So lost her job, lost her fiancé.
Yeah.
I think we were going to have the story on a few weeks ago, but I ended up cutting it out about Jason Trawick playing her harping phone messages to his buddies where she'd be like, "Where are you? I called you 20 times." And he would play it for his friends. And
I remember talking about that. That was on the show?
No, I cut it out. Engagement off, ring returned, and he is no longer one of her keepers, apparently.
Keepers.
Next story. Justin Bieber accused of assaulting Israeli bodyguard Moshe Benabau.
He's wearing a nice blouse in this picture.
Oh, no, strand of pearls.
That's weird, isn't it?
Idiot. This is also from Us Magazine. Justin Bieber can't seem to stay out of trouble. The 18-year-old pop star is being sued by Moshe Benabau, an ex-member of the Israeli army who worked as Bieber's bodyguard from March 2011 to October 2012. The As Long As You Love Me singer berated Benabau and punched him in the chest multiple times during a particularly heated incident. The alleged beating occurred when the two disagreed about how to handle a member of Bieber's entourage. Okay. You've got an ex-Israeli commando who is Bieber's bodyguard, and you've got somebody who's got to weigh maybe $105. God damn it! Pummeling him on the chest.
He was in no danger at that time.
I don't think so.
Still, it's not appropriate to punch your staff.
I suppose. Benabau is seeking unspecified damages for an assault and battery in addition to $420,000 in unpaid overtime.
Really? How much?
$420,000.
How much does he make?
No idea. I'm sure you make a pretty good wage.
Yeah, but
hazard pay as well. If
for
you're
how
beaten
long?
By Justin Bieber all the time.
That's a lot of money.
Stand right here. I'm going to hit you.
Is this what ex-Israeli troops do? They like.
I had an ex-Israeli professor or an ex-Israeli army professor in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He was intimidating.
Did you try to punch him in the chest?
No. I mean, if you've served in the Mossad for a while, I think Bieber is pretty easy to take care of after that.
We don't know that this guy was in the Mossad. We don't know if he was a special forces person.
As you have to serve in the Israeli military if you are an Israeli, then it's possible that he was
that's
just
the thing, though, right?
Yeah, it's possible he was just taking care of the Humvees or something. But
he may have been the guy that was like.
I'd like to think that he was a commando.
He was making the matzo balls in the kitchen or something, and then he like applies for this job, and they're like, "Oh, you were in the military?" He's like, "Yes, I was in the military." Next thing you know, he's getting beat up by Bieber.
Last story, kind of a sad story. Obama won't support building a Death Star.
What?
A Death Star won't be part of the U.S. military's arsenal anytime soon. More than 34,000 people have signed an online petition calling on the Obama administration to build the Star Wars-inspired superweapon to spur job growth and bolster national defense. But in a posting Friday on the White House website, Paul Shawcross, an administration advisor on science and space, says a Death Star would cost too much, an estimated $850 quadrillion, at a time when the White House is working to reduce the federal budget. Besides, he says the Obama administration does not support blowing up planets.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very practical.
No.
Did we ever find out the response to the secession movement for Texas? Because they're supposed to respond to that, right?
Yeah, I never heard anything more about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything else. But apparently, as soon as a Death Star thing comes up, they're like on top of that in no time.
Well, think if we had a Death Star, I doubt Texas would try to secede.
Even if the Death Star was really inexpensive, we don't have any use for the Death Star, do we? Because it just blows up planets.
It would be quite the stick to hold over the heads of our enemies.
That we would destroy ourselves and them?
Yeah, we could pinpoint destroy their country.
Okay, so this Death Star doesn't just laser into the planet
Well,
and blow it up.
this is a theoretical Death Star.
Okay, but the thing is, we already have that power with our nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, but you could point up, look at that.
Look at that. There's a Death Star, a little Death Star up there. Yeah, it's not very useful. I'm just saying.
I want a Death Star.
If we ever get into some situation where we are fighting the aliens and stuff, it might be useful at that point.
I just want to see Joe Biden wearing Darth Vader gear, and then Obama arriving on an Imperial shuttle and starting to bitch Biden out for being behind on the Death Star's construction.
The other thing is the Death Star, it happened in the movie too, it's very susceptible to attack.
I think after 2 movies, they'll fix the exhaust port problem. That was the Achilles heel of the first 2 Death Stars.
That's weird that they just did that twice.
If some hick from Tatooine can fly in there and shoot a couple proton torpedoes, your defenses aren't great. I mean, they had those towers that shot lasers out.
Yeah,
but those seem pretty easy to avoid.
We were both big fans of those movies when we were a kid.
Yes.
But the fact that they just blew up another Death Star,
it's
how weak is that? That's
pretty
lame.
Lazy writing, actually.
It's extremely lazy.
What's going to be the major obstacle in the 3rd movie? Another Death Star. Okay. How are they going to surmount this obstacle? Well, blow it up again. Okay.
And they're going to need to do it by getting help from these little monkey people on this planet.
Yeah.
Who are
well,
gonna,
the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that George Lucas is kind of an idiot.
This is what I've realized. George Lucas is very lucky.
He is, yeah.
He just limped into something.
Well, not that we want to get off into a huge Star Wars
want to get into a Star Wars thing.
Reading some of the shit that he wanted to do with the original trilogy, and people were like, let's not do that. C-3PO's voice, he was portrayed by Anthony Daniels when they were filming it. He was the guy in the suit, and he had the perfect voice, the prissy Englishman.
Yeah.
George Lucas wanted to overdub all his dialogue with a sleazy used car salesman type voice. And luckily, Lawrence Kasdan, some of the other producers were like, George, no, let's not do that. This is perfect. Oh, come on. It'd be funny. He's an idiot.
And the other thing is he didn't even direct The Empire Strikes Back.
The best film.
The best film by far,
He did not write it either.
And that's what propelled it into being a series, right? Because if that second movie had been a flop, it never would have gotten to the place where it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the first the 3 prequels is that he directed and wrote those. And that's why
they're terrible.
They suck.
Yeah.
So this has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
This has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show. They wander the streets, scavenging for loose change and discarded cigarette butts.
Spare $1
and give me a motherfucking cigarette.
I ran out of gas ways back.
Got me, man. You smoke weed, don't you?
God, booze my car.
I could use some change.
They may be mentally unstable and deserving of our charity, but that doesn't mean they can't be selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
Yes, Street Freak of the Week is back. On the Warren and Bradley Show, we have 2 Street Freaks for Warren to choose from this week. The first one, I entered the bagelry.
Yeah, okay.
To have a bagel and some coffee. Purchased my bagel. found a seat, and the seat happened to be near two street freaks who were inside the bagelry drinking coffee themselves. Now, this is interesting because usually in Bellingham, maybe unfortunately, most local businessmen, women, owners, managers will not let street freaks into their establishments.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bullshit. If they're going in there and going to spend money, then just let them go in there and spend some money.
No, what are you, crazy?
Well, unless they do something horrible.
But they're going to at any moment.
Well, not necessarily. You can't profile people just because they happen to be street freaks.
You can profile people based on their behavior. And if
Well,
people are acting crazy, you don't want the crazy people in your
I think a lot of them
establishment.
have acted crazy in a particular establishment, and then they've said, okay, you're no longer allowed in this establishment
This is not
anymore.
the same thing as, like, not letting black people eat at the lunch counter or something.
Well, that I agree with.
This is like people acting crazy, so it's like, I don't want you in here because of your crazy behavior.
Well, anyway, they got in under the wire. There were two street freaks sitting at a table. And as I approached, I was going to sit at the counter near them, put my food down, and I heard one of them very loudly whisper, "Look at that faggot."
Oh, that's about you.
And, well, I didn't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I didn't know at the time.
Okay.
And so I didn't look. I didn't say anything. I put my food down. "Did you see that faggot that just walked in?" The other guy, "Yeah, I saw it.
Oh.
Couldn't believe it. Look at what he's wearing. What a faggot."
Even with your beard?
Yeah, I do have a beard right now. I was wearing a pair of jeans, the jeans I'm wearing right now.
Oh, they're a little faggy.
They're tight.
Yeah.
They're not faggy. I was wearing a leather jacket. It's not gay. I didn't look gay. Okay. If I'm faggy, quote, faggy to these guys, what would a real gay person be to them?
Probably faggy, too.
Yeah, but is there any sort of, like, spectrum of faggy for these people?
You want to be like, oh, look at that kind of faggy guy.
Yes. I would appreciate that.
Sorry, it's just if you're on the faggy spectrum, you're just on it for them.
So I was like, okay, they're probably talking about me.
Yeah.
Because I had sat down near them. So I pointedly turned around and looked at them. Not in a...
You didn't check them out? You were like looking them up and down?
I should have given them the little eyebrow.
Yeah.
But not in an aggressive manner, not in an accusatory way, but I just gave them a look and then held like a 10 count as I looked at them, sort of inviting comment. Are they going to say anything else? And they kind of went, oop, and studiously avoided looking at me. And then as I turned around again, they're like, God, these faggots everywhere. So many fags. I'm like, all right, street freaks, doesn't matter. It's fine. Let's let them drink their coffee. I'm going to eat my bagel.
People,
They're crazy people. What put the icing on the cake for this whole experience is that one of the street freaks got up from his table and he went outside and he had this decrepit bike parked out front that had, like a garbage bag bungeed onto the back of it and all the shit hanging off of it. He went out and got a cigarette, lit it up and was smoking it in front of the bagelry. And there was a vehicle parked in front that had a little rat-like chihuahua in the front seat.
Yes.
Had the window slit open so it could breathe. And it was just barking nonstop. The street freak approached the chihuahua and started basically baiting it, like, fucking little rat. And kind of lunging at it over and over again. The dog was freaking out, slavering, and just like, biting like crazy at the man. Finally, the guy put his face right at the window and went, and started just like sticking his tongue out and gyrating back and forth. Bit him right in the nose.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It was hilarious.
Oh, good.
Poetic justice, karma, if you will. By that time, I was leaving the establishment and saw it and was able to give the guy a good, well, there you go, kind of look. It was good.
Good.
Second street freak occurred in my backyard / parking lot area. I was out having a cigarette, and I don't know if you noticed as you were walking up, I think across the street from my parking lot, there was a discarded Christmas tree.
Oh, there's a lot of those around lately.
That happens. Boy Scouts come eventually and haul it away. I don't know what they do with them. There was a homeless man wandering about, and he saw the discarded Christmas tree, and he started picking it up and putting it upright, and then standing near it, waiting for it to start to fall, and then he'd go and run away from the tree as it almost landed on him. Then he'd go back and pick it up again, look in anticipation on his face. It would start to fall again. He'd go and run away again. Like, okay, this is interesting.
This is the kind of thing the kitten would do at our house.
Yeah. I walked nearer, hoping that he would engage me in conversation, and he did. He let the tree fall again and laughed and came up to me and said, "Guess what happened to me yesterday?" "I don't know. What happened to you?" "Somebody gave me a pizza." Like, really?
Oh.
A whole pizza, huh? And he's like, oh yes. Like, wow, that's nice. He's like, "It was delicious." When was the last time you had pizza? I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago.
This guy sounds like he's hosting a children's TV show. I had pizza yesterday. When was the last time you had pizza?
He was happy that he had pizza.
Yeah.
Do you know what was on the pizza? Nope. What was on the pizza? Pepperoni, olives, bacon, Canadian bacon or bacon? Canadian bacon, sausage, and mushrooms. Oh, that sounds like a great pizza.
Yeah.
It was delicious. The best pizza I've ever had. Like, oh, who gave it to you? Why'd they give it to you? I was near the pizza place, and they said that nobody wanted it, so they gave it to me.
Oh.
It's like, oh, do you hang out by the pizza place a lot, like trying to get food from the... And then he was like, oh, I don't go there trying to beg food from people. I was just walking by, and there was a pizza. How lucky is that? I'm like, that's very, very lucky.
I mean, I've never walked by a pizza place and had someone just offer me a pizza
like
because they were
open
going to
the
throw
door.
it out anyways.
Well, you would get that maybe.
Maybe.
because
It might happen one of these
You're
days.
wearing your Carhartt coat and looking disheveled. Basically, he went on about the pizza for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the best pizza he'd ever
Apparently it
had.
was great, yeah.
It was amazing pizza. He loved the pizza. He was thanking God for the pizza. He was the happiest street freak I've ever seen. And here's the capper. Did not do anything crazy. Well, he was picking the tree up over and over again and letting it fall
Yeah.
on him. But other than that, he was friendly. He was happy. He was enjoying and loving life. He had had a pizza. His belly was full. There was a tree that he could pick up and let fall down over
Yeah.
and over again. Nothing wrong.
He's a street freak of the week.
You're going for him.
It's an uplifting street freak of the
The
week.
happiest homeless man who's ever
Yeah.
existed.
That's great.
All right. So congratulations, Mr. Happiest Homeless Man who's ever existed. You've been selected by a jury of your peers as the
dare
street
you.
freak of the week.
Our hats are off to you, Mr. Homeless Man, because you've been selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
What would you do, Warren? If you woke up
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, well, maybe not tomorrow morning because you won't be waking up because you'll be up all night because you're going to be waiting to go on an airplane to go to
Yes.
New York. But on another night,
Yeah.
you wake up in the morning. I don't know how often you sleep with your girlfriend in the same bed.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Most of the time. She rolls over.
Yeah.
She gives you a little hug, and she feels a nice set of C cups.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been taking certain hormones. Maybe you were exposed
This just
to
happened
birth control
overnight.
pills. Overnight,
Yeah.
you grew a luscious, ripe, firm, pert
Yeah.
set of breasts. What would your reaction be to this? What would your girlfriend's reaction be to this? How would you proceed? Would you keep the boobs? Would you immediately have a mastectomy? What would you do?
Well, first thing you go to urgent care.
Urgent care. Is it
Yeah.
urgent?
Who
There's
knows?
no health problem.
Oh,
If you feel
have
fine
giant-
apart
if you-
from boobs.
But if you have something, any part of your body swells much larger than its normal size, you don't know why.
Well, I'm not talking about swelling. I'm talking about...
There's no reason for me to suddenly develop boobs overnight. So I'm going to go in there and they're going to be like, this just happened. And then I'm going to be like, when can we schedule the operation for me to have these removed? And then I'll go in and have them removed.
So you would have a complete mastectomy.
Yes.
Would they have to detach your nipples and then reattach them to the skin that they had...
I don't know how this works. I know that there are men that do develop breasts and they have a procedure and they get rid of the breast tissue and they
Okay, what if, I don't know, perhaps your healthcare plan
didn't cover it.
didn't cover the mastectomy because you're not a woman, you're not in any risk of breast cancer. Well, maybe I guess you are
Oh,
at
that would
risk
be a
because
great.
you have boobs.
That would be a great movie, wouldn't it? It's like me fighting the man.
See, I think you would have a lot of trouble finding a bra to fit you.
Oh, because I'm way bigger.
Yo, yeah, the width. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know how bras are sized, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you've got like your 32B, 34C, and that's the width of your back, and then the cup
Yes.
size. And if you'd probably have a C cup, maybe a D cup, and then you'd probably be like 46,
Yeah.
or something like that. Ridiculous.
Well, I know I've talked to like people about that bra situation, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people are like, I have to go to Seattle to get my bras because they don't fit me because they don't I'm so unconventional that way. My
Yeah.
breasts are so big and like I'm so small that they don't even make breasts. They don't even make bras that way. But I know what you mean. I have to go to a special bra
So
maker.
if you knew that you weren't going to get this paid for and you had to come up with some other way to pay for the surgery, so you knew you were going to be stuck with these breasts for at least several months.
Yeah.
Would you go bra shopping with your girlfriend? Would you wear a bra? Would you just strap it up with maybe an ace bandage or something like that? Like one of those zany 80s comedies where a girl tries to pass herself off as a man?
That's interesting, right? Because that would be more effort.
Yeah.
Like every morning I have to get up and like wrap it around and like try to like push them down.
Would you be comfortable walking around in public with these boobs?
No, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
It'd just be like the one with the mustache, as you saw last week.
Well, they owned their mustaches.
Well, I mean, that would be. I mean,
would you do that? Would you, if we went
No.
swimming, would you be wearing a bikini?
I doubt I would go swimming. And I doubt I would. I probably would do the ace bandage thing
Ace bandage thing.
because I don't want to talk to everybody about it, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much that would. I mean, because you have a big pair of luscious breasts. I'm not sure how much you could actually hide them with the ace bandage. You would just have this kind of weird bulge thing going on.
Yeah, but I mean, you like smush them down, right?
Yeah.
So it's flatter.
But they're firm. They're not like bags. There.
But I think I would do everything I can to like just mush them down a little
Right.
bit, so people wouldn't necessarily be like. I wouldn't wear like really tight outfits that like show my nipples and stuff on my breasts and be like, hey, check that out.
Is it cold in here?
Because, you don't want to be in a situation where like everyone you meet, and the only thing they're thinking is like, why is Warren have breasts now? You know what I mean? And that's all everyone's talking about. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Or you can go the other route where you're just like, I have breasts.
Yeah.
This happened.
If I can think of anyone who would just be maybe, well, fuck this, I have breasts. You seem like the kind of person who might do that.
It wouldn't destroy my life.
You don't think so?
No, it wouldn't be like I'd just be home weeping about having breasts. You know what I mean? I'd be like, okay, we can address this at some point. I'll have them removed and then
Do you think
move
you'd ever
on.
get to the point? I mean, because I'm sure at first it would be a big shock to you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the fuck are these things doing here? But then would it get to a certain point where, you're getting out of the shower, you're toweling yourself off, and
I
you're
go,
like,
yeah.
oh, look at these. And even though they're attached to your body, you don't feel like they're yours. Because you never look at your own legs and are like, ooh, these are sexy legs or anything, because they're
No.
your legs, and you've had those legs for a long time. But if you had these new, fresh boobs,
Yeah.
they didn't seem as though they belonged to you,
So I'm
obviously.
going to be sexually entranced by my own
Do you
breasts?
think so?
No.
No?
I don't think that happens.
What about your girlfriend? Would she have a little fun with those fun bags?
No, I don't think so. I think
Would she?
the weird thing that would happen possibly is like, let's say you do have them and you're like, oh my God, this feels right? The next thing you know, you become a woman.
Would you go whole hog then?
Well, yeah.
Or
Let's say I
no
was like,
hog
suddenly
then?
I was like, wait a second, everything's been wrong the last, ever since I
Yeah.
was born. This is where I should be. And I throw on a dress and I'm like, yeah, there we go. I guess that could happen.
Warina.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had any breasts, so maybe. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I get to the point where I was really like treasuring them in any
How would
way.
your girlfriend respond?
I think she'd probably support the removal of them by surgical means.
Yeah. Do you think she'd still be attracted to you while you had the boobs?
I don't know. I don't think that.
You're
think
saying that
she'd
maybe
stand by me.
You're saying that maybe you would realize that you wanted to be a woman. Do you think maybe she would realize that she was actually a lesbian?
Well, see, this is the thing. This could happen.
Because I'm saying these are amazing breasts, by the way.
I
These
don't-
are like the best breasts you've
Yeah.
ever seen in your entire life.
But that's who cares about that? That's not
I
that big.
care.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like if they even were like not the best breasts, it's pretty much the same thing. It has. You can talk about great breasts, but it's mostly has to do with who they're attached to.
yeah.
You can attach
I'd say
breasts to like Alan Arkin, the greatest breasts ever.
Look at these boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Give him an
Alan Arkin.
Oscar.
I've got breasts.
He can play me in the movie.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be like, wow, those are really attractive.
Well, I will say I do think the woman makes the boobs, not the boobs makes the woman, in my
It's
opinion.
an old saying that goes back many years.
And the boobs wouldn't make the man necessarily. No.
It wouldn't be like I would suddenly have boobs and people would be like, wow. Straight men would suddenly be attracted to me because of the boobs I have.
What if you wore a really low-cut dress?
The other thing that I would worry about, though, is that I was going to wake up the next morning and have a vagina.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or have really sexy
so
legs.
It was like a cumulative thing. Each morning you wake up with other parts
Yeah.
that you shouldn't have.
And I'm just turning into a
or
woman.
missing parts that you should have.
The thing is, if I did get to the point where I had really great breasts and I had a vagina, and then the next, I'd be like, just keep this going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you don't want to be stuck in the middle period where you're like a man like me with breasts and a vagina.
Yeah.
You want to just fully become the beautiful woman that I was hoping for.
Well, if you had breasts and a vagina, you would be a woman.
I would be a woman, but I'd still be me with those on them, which would not be a woman that anyone's going to be interested in.
Well, that brings up an interesting question. What
Okay.
kind of woman would you be? Let's say you were born a woman. It's
hard to say,
What do you
right?
think you'd be? Would you be as large as you are now? Because you're 6'3".
Yeah, I'm big.
You've always been big.
I think that I'd probably be kind of a jockey girl, right?
A lesbian?
Well, I assume so. Well, if you're throwing my brain into a woman's brain, then I'm going to be a lesbian.
It's as if your DNA, take Warren and then just take out that Y chromosome. So
What
you've
would have
developed
happened?
your whole life as a woman.
Well, this would be an interesting thing as far as cloning, right?
Yeah. You could do that.
You could do that,
conceivably.
right?
Yeah.
If you can clone somebody, you could do this, and you could just see what would be the female you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
Do
interesting.
you think you'd be attracted to the female you?
No. No, because you're not attracted
to your sister.
Genetic similarities, right?
Yeah, there is usually something within all of us to make us not attracted to our siblings.
Yeah, for good reason, right?
But do you think that's because you were raised with your siblings? Like if
No, I think it's because I think that's
you didn't want me to go any further there, did you?
No, I'm just saying that
because I've heard of people who were separated at birth, and then they've actually, we've all heard of the story of Oedipus. He didn't know it was his mother, and he ended up having sex with her.
That's not a true story.
How do you know? You weren't around.
Maybe it was
there.
based on a true story. Maybe that was like the Kardashians of that time, and people were like really scandalized, and so you were to play about it.
See, that's interesting because is it Khloe, the strange Frankenstein freak Kardashian?
That's Khloe.
She looks like she could be the male Kardashian who was turned into a female Kardashian.
I don't want to be mean, but yeah, she does look like that. If you were going to take a male Kardashian and be like, oh, now I'm going to turn him into the third sister.
Yeah.
That's what it would look like.
It's possible that's what happened. So what we've established so far is that if you had boobs, you would most likely remove them. You would probably not be attracted to your own boobs. Your girlfriend would not turn lesbian.
No.
And if you were a woman, you would not have sex with yourself.
Have sex with myself?
Well, with your woman form.
If I cloned Warina, I would probably know. I wouldn't try to seduce Warina.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Huh.
All right, that's all the time we have on the Warren and Bradley Show this week. This has been one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
This is your other host, Warina,
saying,
I will not have sex with Warren.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com.